Hello everyone, welcome to the session Object-Oriented Programming through Java. Myself Navya, I'm an assistant professor from the Department of CSIT in MLR Institutions of Technology. Today's topic is JDBC. So in this session, we are going to see what is JDBC, Java Database Connectivity, working of JDBC, how the working of Java Database Connectivity would happen, and JDBC versus ODBC, what is an architecture of JDBC and types of architectures of JDBC. So we are going to see these all topics in this session. Coming to Java Database Connectivity. What is JDBC? So, JDBC refers to Java Database Connectivity. It provides our application, our program to interact with database management system. What is database management system? Database management system is used to create the storing of data in a backend. Okay, so you already know the database management system is a subject. Okay, it's a subject. It's a completely subject which is used to store data in some storage place. So the complete process is known as database management system. And here we are going to see how the Java will be connected with database management system, backend language, front-end language to backend connectivity. Okay, and here we will write Java program in order to access the relational database. And here the JDBC API consists of set of interfaces and classes which enables Java program to execute SQL statements. So database management system is nothing but DBMS. It consists of many statements. The language which used for DBMS is SQL, isn't it? So we will write the Java program in order to execute these SQL statements. And interfaces and classes in the JVI API are written already built. There are built-in interfaces and built-in classes which are available in Java. And here JDBC, it's an application program interface which is used to interact with databases, and some of the classes, there are some built-in classes which are present in java.sql package is used for this particular connectivity, and this is used to interact with databases. And these, what are the classes and interfaces which are there in this built-in classes, we can execute or we can send requests made by the user to the specified database. So this is all about Java database connectivity. Coming to working of JDBC, how the JDBC will work. So we already know whatever the programs you are writing, that will be interacted with JDBC. Okay, so here you have, for example, this was a front-end language and this was a back-end language. In order to connect these two languages, there should be a connection, isn't it? So what would be this? So this is an architecture. This is in working, how it works. So here you will write a Java code, isn't it? So it will react with JDBC and this will connect to database, whatever the data request you are requesting through the JDBC. The requests are made up of SQL statements and the responses will get as it is. Coming to JDBC versus ODBC. What is ODBC? ODBC is nothing but Open Database Connectivity, where here the Java in before JDBC, the developers used Open Database Connectivity. So it's in language agnostic standard approach in order to access this database. So this is This is related to relational database management system. So there previously what they have done is, in the open database management system, they have used some other languages, whatever the languages native languages they have used, and they have introduced into the JDBC. Okay, the difference that is that JDBC is Java specific, offering a programming level interface that handles the mechanics of Java applications, communicates with a database. Whereas in ODBC, you are going to write, it's an language agnostic standard approach. Coming to the architecture. So here Java database interface consists of two layers. Okay, first one is the JDBC API supports communication between the Java application and JDBC manager. You has to have in Java application programming interface. What is application programming interface? It's Java API is whatever the interface, the GUI you are going to see, that one should act here in between, the communication in between Java application and JDBC manager. And the second one is the JDBC driver. So this is one unit and this is the second one unit. Okay, whatever the code you are giving, that should be in Java API, and that will act with the JDBC drivers, and using this driver support you will get communicated with database. So here Java driver supports communication between the JDBC manager as well as database driver. So whatever the requests you are sending, you has to have a JDBC driver in order to execute the Java database program. Okay, so here this driver is used to get ready with the Java programs, which in order to communicate with Java and the database, you need to have this driver. Okay, using this driver, whatever the Java program, whatever the request you are sending to the database, that would be communicated to the database, and whatever the response you are having, that would be communicated with Java API. And JDBC API and Java driver, JDBC driver has been refined extensively over the years. So resulting feature rich, performant and reliable library. So here what happens, what is an architecture? You will have whatever the code you are writing, that would be running using Java API, and in order to write what the code you are writing, in the code you has to get in, while you are writing a Java code, that should be ready with the Java API, that should be connected with Java API, and you has to attach the driver to your program such that your complete program will interact with the database. Whatever the requests you are sending to the database, that would be executed in database, as well as the SQL statements will, whatever the response, that would be received to your code. This is what the basic concept of or architecture of JDBC. And JDBC is a common API that your application code interacts with. Beneath that is JDBC compliant driver for the database you are using. So here, what is an application? So the application might be in Java applet or Java program or Java servlet that communicate with the data source. And coming to JDBC API. What is JDBC API? JDBC API allows Java programs to execute SQL statements and retrieve results. So in Java API itself, you are going to execute the SQL statement and the results will be published in Java API. Some of the important classes and interfaces are defined in Java API only. Okay. And coming to driver manager. What is driver manager? You are having JDBC driver, right? In order to have a driver, you has to use this one, driver manager. It plays an important role in JDBC architecture because it uses data specific drivers. So you has to use data specific drivers in order to connect with enterprise applications database. So where this database management system will be applicable. Let me complete this and let me say that also. So JDBC drivers. What are JDBC drivers? In order to communicate with data source and JDBC, you are going to install a driver, JDBC driver, that can be act as a middle source. For example, if there are two persons, one person knows only English and the second person knows only Telugu. How they would communicate with each other? So there should be a third person who knows English as well as Telugu, isn't it? So whatever the English person, whatever the person A, which is who knows only English, will communicate to middle person, intermediate person. The person will, whatever he says, that would be communicated with person B, which is who knows only Telugu. So what he will do, the mediator or the middle person, whatever the person A he was saying, that would be translated to person B. As well as whatever the person is responding here, he will communicate the response to the person A, which means in the same way, in order to communicate a Java with a database, you need a middleware called JDBC driver. Okay, in order to communicate these Java program with the database, Java was different programming as well as database is different programming. And what is Java? In order to execute some programs and you will get output, as well as you are using some method in order to solve problems, you are going to do this. Whereas what is database? Database is nothing but in order to save some data in the form of tables, isn't it? So completely different. So who knows Telugu? He don't know English and he don't know to communicate, and what he has to do, he don't know. And whereas English also the same. So in order to communicate these two, there should be a middleware person. So that middleware person is JDBC driver. So the JDBC driver will communicate the source through JDBC, and you need to install this JDBC driver that would be communicated effectively with the data source. Clear, everyone? Coming to Java types of architecture, before going to, yes, so JDBC architecture consists of 2-tier and 3-tier processing models. Okay, so there are two types of processing models, which is nothing but two types of architectures. So first, coming to 2-tier model. So here where we are using Java JDBC connection in Enterprise Edition. In the enterprise. Okay. So here 2-tier model in an enterprise. So if I just want to communicate, for example, if there was a one database in particular room. For example, if I'm having a room consists of 10 systems and there was a one database connection, in order to if one person, if a number of systems are connected to one through a single network. Okay, if I just we can say it as client server configuration. If just one person has to execute some and they has to save the data in this particular. So from one system to another system, when you are going with one system to another system, you need a connection. So that is 2-tier model. So what is 2-tier model? A Java application that communicates directly to the data source. The JDBC driver enables communication between the application and the data source. So there was a direct connection between the application and data source is 2-tier model. And here what when the user sends a query to the data source, the answers for those queries are sent back to the user in the form of results. Okay, and here the data source as well as the data source located on a different machine on a network in which the user has to be connected. So whenever you are using this connection two-tier model, the whatever the user using the system as well as the database system should be on a same network, and this is also known as client server configuration, where the user machine acts as a client. Whatever the user using the machine acts as a client, and the database, the machine which consists of data source, that would be act as a server. This is two-tier model. The user who was writing the application and the database which consists system, they has to be in the same network. They can communicate directly with each other. The user can connect and save the data into the machine, and whatever the response it can go, that would be directly communicated with the client. And the user which he was using the system, that machine is called as client. The machine which consists of a data source or database, that is that can be considered as a server. So that is all about two-tier model. Coming to three-tier model. What is three-tier model? So if same as just we have discussed, so one system who is using user, and this is other system which has a database. So there should be a middleware middleware services who can communicate with these people as well as this machine. So this is three-tier model. If when user queries are sent to middleware services, and from middleware services, the commands are again sent to the data source, and the results sent back by the data source will be sent to the middleware, and the middle tier will be send these responses to the user. And this type of model is found very useful by management information system directors. So this is all about three-type architecture. And two-tier, you will have only two systems. The responses and requests are made directly. Okay. In the three-tier model, the response and the requests will be made by using three-tier. So this is all about types of architecture. So in this session, what we have discussed is, first is what is JDBC. What is JDBC? Java Database Management System. Java Database Management Connectivity. So what is Java Database Connectivity? In order to communicate the Java program with the database and the queries executed in a database that would be done in Java program is known as JDBC. And we have seen architecture of JDBC. And next we have seen how the JDBC works. Working of JDBC. And we have seen ODBC versus JDBC. Before they have used ODBC in a recent previous versions. Here and as of now we are using JDBC. What is the difference between ODBC and JDBC? And at last we have seen types of architecture. So how many types of architectures are there? There are two types of architectures. One is two-tier and next one is three-tier. So this is all about JDBC, introduction to JDBC in today's session, what we have seen. Thank you everyone.